Thanks for staying with Morning Live. Now, as Zimbabwe's economic situation worsens, more citizens living outside the country are trying to transport goods and groceries to their loved ones back home. However, many say that the process isn't easy because corruption is rife and parcels often get lost. Now, according to the International Monetary Fund, Zimbabwe's inflation is now the highest in the world after Venezuela. And to discuss this further is Tino Mambeu, who's the coordinator of the Zimbabwe Exile Forum, and to bring a solution to this transportation of goods problem is Sayjil Magan, who is the managing director at Hello Paisa, and they've launched an app to trace goods from the sender to destination. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming through this morning. Tina, let me start with you. Looking at the economic situation in Zimbabwe, how would you describe it today?
Thank you very much for having me on the show once again, Sakina. The economic situation in Zimbabwe is terrible. Probably to describe this, the situation in much lighter terms. It has reached, the extent that many people find it very, very difficult to survive. And for those that have no backup from the diaspora, they are hardly able to go by. I think you know that at the moment, the doctors have been on strike, I think, for the past 45 days. There's no medical supplies in hospitals. The living wage has been depreciated. People are really suffering at the current moment. And I think you also know that as of today, the Southern African Development Community, which is SADC, has put aside the 25th of October as a day where they are saying they will be coordinating in marches or in actions to try and force the United States and Europe to lift sanctions that have been placed on Zimbabwe. In their thinking, they hope that maybe the current problems Zimbabwe is facing are a result of crippling sanctions. But there is a certain belief among the generality of Zimbabweans that our problems are not really as a result of sanctions per se, but as a result of serious economic mismanagement. I'll give you for an example that between 2017 and 2018, when Mr. Mnangagwa had just taken over power through the military coup, there's been $3 billion US dollars which has gone missing from that time. And so that has contributed much to a very, very large extent to this current economic situation that we are experiencing now. So at the end of the day, the Zimbabwean story is a sad story.
So when we see footage, from Zimbabwe, it's often one that shows empty shelves, people struggling to lay their hands on basic food stuff. And this is, of course, a problem that you have tried to find a solution to, the both of you. And people are transporting goods from South Africa to Zimbabwe. How are they currently doing that? And, what is the rate of things getting lost between South Africa and Zimbabwe?
The biggest problem that has now happened to Zimbabweans in general is the most of Zimbabweans that you would look at and that you would speak to in the streets, they have now become too polarized to an extent that there is no trust amongst Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans have left the stage where they do things in the spirit of doing things. Whatever that they now do has become a matter of trying to rip off each other. So in terms of sending goods to Zimbabwe, you would normally go to the bus driver and ask the bus driver to take the parcel to you. But some of them are just scrupulous. They have got this bad mentality such that when they get to the border, they will send you a report that so much of money is now needed for us to be able to cross with your goods. And if you don't have that money and if you cannot send it immediately, usually those will be exorbitant fares. They will tell you that your goods have been attached by Zimra, they have not been able to be delivered by the bus driver to the destination. So at the end of the day, you would find that the Zimbabwean population continues to suffer left, right, and center. As much as we try to send goods or money back home, it gets lost along the way, and there's no mechanisms to try and make sure that there is responsibility over the loss to an extent that you can at least be able to recover something. So that is a situation that has bothered us, especially in the diaspora, to say you send goods, they don't arrive, and there's nothing you can do about it. Several cases have been laid at the police station to say, I have given this man my goods, he never delivered. But the police are not, they're unable to deal with such kind of transactions where there's no paper trail, where people use just the benefit of doubt to at least try somebody to perform that service for you.
So you're trying to go one step further here, Sayjil, by producing this app. Talk to us about the app. It's called Malaysia.
Yes, Sakina, malaysia.com. And the Bele word for a transporter of goods we've developed an app which allows Zimbabwean migrants now to shop on an app and be able to send goods and groceries to their loved ones back in Zimbabwe. And those groceries would be available for collection on the very same day.
So how does it work then? You know, just give us a sense of the app. You know, if I'm a Zimbabwean sitting in Joburg and I want to send something to Mutare, for example, how does it work?
Sure. So you would download the app from the Google Play Store and register yourself. It's a simple onboarding process. Your name, surname, a telephone number, and a picture of your passport document or whatever identification document you have on you. Thereafter, you'll be approved as a customer, and it's a normal e-commerce platform where you'd be able to shop for essential goods, groceries, there's rice, there's oil, maize meal. So you can hear that it's basic necessities. We also have certain luxury items like snacks and soft drinks on the app. Once you've then selected your goods and groceries, you'd add a recipient. So if I was sending to you, Sakina and Mutare, I would add you as a recipient. I would make payment for my goods and groceries, and I would then get a reference number to say that they're ready for you to collect in Zimbabwe.
So when did you launch, and how has it been? You know, what's the take-up been like?
So we've launched 4 months ago, and we've already served 15,000 customers, Sakina.
Feedback, Tino?
Well, you know, the economic situation and the current trends require that the people be innovative, because at the end of the day, when the leadership is dismally failed, people take it upon themselves to try to survive. So I think such an initiative at the moment is really doing wonders, because at the end of the day, you don't want to send goods and goods get lost and there's no accountability, there's no responsibility. At least when there is a company that is standing behind and that is insured to say, if my goods don't arrive, what steps or what measures can I take? Who do I sue? You know, it's much reasonable. So I think the service would also be improved if it would allow people to send whatever that they want to send, not necessarily that they've got to go via the platform. Because at the end of the day, somebody wants to send certain some things that are not on the platform to an extent. I think there's need to improve on that. But at the end of it all, or at the end of the day, it's a great initiative that I think will help to a very large extent the people that are suffering in Zimbabwe. Because in Zimbabwe, it's just not possible for anybody to be able to buy bread. For example, bread that used to cost give or take about $1 6-7 months ago, it's now about $15, and the income is not really improved as per the rate of the increase in prices.
$15 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah, but you know what they would say is, no, that was a US dollar. Now we've got our own RTGS dollar. So if you want to try and compare between the RTGS dollar and the US dollar, then they'll put up some funny economic policies around that. But at the end of the day, the salaries have not increased by that margin. So it doesn't really matter which dollar you want to use.
So in rand terms, what does a loaf of bread cost in Zimbabwe today?
Look, it's very difficult to say, but I think at the moment, the rate between the RTGS dollar in Zimbabwe and the rand could be probably 1:1, or a little bit more, or a little bit less. But the salaries which people use to be able to make purchases are still paid far, far much below that. So at the end of the day, if you are earning $10 and you buy bread for $15, whether that $15 is some form of virtual currency or whatever it is, are you able to buy in the currency or in the particular amount of money that you are receiving? So there's a serious disparity between what you earn and what you are able to purchase, because the amount of money that the people earn, like for example, doctors will earn an equivalent of $80. $80 US dollars is probably just under 1,500 rand. And the government would argue that, okay, the price of bread is $1 6 months back, which is US dollars, but now it's $15 in the new currency. So there's a lot of price disparity there.
And just finally, Sayjil, are you looking to expand the offering that you currently have?
Yes, most certainly. So again, into further Zimbabwean cities and also further into Africa. So in the new year, 2 further African countries that we'll be looking to expand into.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much to both of you for stopping by. Tino Mambeu, who is the coordinator at the Zimbabwe Exile Forum, and Sayjil Magan, managing director at Hello Paisa, talking about challenges and possible solutions for Zimbabweans transporting goods and groceries to their families back home. And as Sayjil said, they're looking to expand on that particular offering, maybe taking it further into the continent as well. Let's take a break.